Featured Artist of the Week. And I would say this is a lucky Friday morning because Andrew Cole is live on the phone with us, I believe, from New York. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Dennis. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for agreeing to chat with us. We know in normal times this would be fairly difficult for a musician to be live with us on the phone. It happens, but we know it's a different schedule of sorts.
Yeah, unfortunately, nobody's on the road due to COVID. But I've spent a lot of time during the pandemic listening to radio, and in particular with listening to you guys this week. And I got to say, the programming is fantastic. I wish I had known about you guys when I was a kid growing up in Augusta. But the mix of jazz and blues and Americana and roots, it's real kind of music discovery for me. I heard a couple bands that I'm going to tune into already just this past week with you guys. So I appreciate what you guys do for artists like us. And again, thanks for having me on.
You definitely grew up on the outskirts of where our terrestrial signal goes. It was a couple decades ago we were getting close to the online streaming, but of course that's become more popular in recent years. So, Andrew, not knowing about us back then, growing up in Augusta, Maine, what made you drift towards music?
Yeah, my parents were both interested in music. My mom, by the way, worked at Natural Resources Council of Maine for 30 plus years. I think you have some listeners who work there and live in the area. And then my dad worked for Maine Municipal Association. And so growing up in Augusta, they're both interested in music, into contra dance as well. And so there's a lot of Gordon Bach and David Mallet and Ann Muir spinning in our house. And then just even in town, there's a pretty vibrant sort of Canadian music scene. That sort of music from up north, French Canadian community plays, particularly around festivals and things. And so there's just a lot of music in the air. And I think that sort of got embedded in my brain somewhere. And then later in life, I really took to writing and was a intense reader, and those two things kind of merged together into songwriting for me kind of in the late high school years, and I've stuck with it ever since and got really lucky in the last 5 or 6 years in getting a band together here in New York and putting out a few albums. I think we've got 4 albums out now.
I have 3 cousins that went to your high school, Coney High School, and none of them live in this state. What made you leave Maine and family and move to New York?
Yeah, I sort of started drifting south through school, including high school, which ended up in New Hampshire, and then college down in Connecticut. And then, I just wanted to take a bite at a big city. I knew Boston from some relatives down there and didn't really know New York, and figured, I wanted to give that a try after college. So I moved to Brooklyn, and I really enjoyed it. A great music scene there as well. And so, yeah, it's, I got a lot of great friends in Maine still, and it's near and dear to my heart. And a lot of my songs are sort of actually based on stories and experiences that I had back in my youth there, and then just staying in touch with friends in the state in general. So it's been a great sort of inspiration use for me for a long time. And I just, again, I love the state, so it's great being with you. One of great.
Now, the Bravo Hops have been together, as far as I can figure, for about 6 years, but you are based in New York, and I know there's so many opportunities for musicians, and it's always hard to keep a band together. Have there been a lot of changes in those 6 years with your lineup?
Just one. Well, actually, no, 2. It started small with just a drummer and me, and we went into a recording studio nearby. My brother-in-law introduced me to a local studio. There's just a musical wizard named Al Hamburger who worked a lot of great musicians that we've all heard of before. The vocal track, the full album. And he said, what, why don't I sit in with him on a couple of these songs? And that really clicked. And then later, my brother-in-law joined the band as a guitarist. And we were that sort of group of 4 drummer moved out, and we brought a new drummer in, and then we recently added a saxophone player. I think it's like when we go into for bluesier numbers, it really adds a lot. It really lights up the song.
Now, the band is based, as we've been saying all week long, in New York City. In a given year, if this was not 2020, how many gigs do you think you would have had in the last 8 months?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, probably one a month was kind of our pace. And then, we also would play parties here and there. But, we have, other activities. Most of us have kids and day jobs. And so it's a mix, our daily lives. But music's a part of it every day. And so we're not on the road every day. We're not crisscrossing the country, but we found a real great following here and developed that, and then we can bring that crowd to certain venues in this area and have a really great time, and those venues, make a lot of money, which I know they're interested in, so it all worked out.
The band is definitely somebody we've heard a lot this week. For people that don't know the EP yet, we've got some tracks on here. They seem very relevant, and I know the record was released in April. We got it and added it to our studio in late August. What is it about these tracks that seem so timely? Are they fairly recent recordings?
It's funny. Some of them are kind of older songs, some are newer songs, and I found that happens sometimes with albums. Not mine per se, but other artists where they record it months and months and months ago, but when it gets released, a few tracks in particular just sort of resonate with the moment of the day. And people tell us that Be at Hand, the one you played earlier, which is really about reaching out to people who are in need and trying to connect with them. And that song talks a little bit about not just handing somebody a check or doing a kind act, but actually sort of looking into their eyes and saying, "Who are you? What's your name?" And that providing that kind of human connection, which obviously is harder and harder during the pandemic. And then Sparrow Fly is another song. It's got kind of a blues. We almost called it Feeling Blue, but you'd be surprised how many songs out there are called Feeling Blue. And so with that one, just, I wrote it while looking out the window on a really rainy day and just feeling kind of down. And then thinking about a trip we had upstate here in New York to visit a friend at a farm. He runs a sheep farm upstate. And I don't know, the storylines just kind of intersected into that song, Sparrow Fly. And then Wolfsang Boogie, that's just an all out, let's try to, just go out and have fun the best we can. And so that song's about, just give me anywhere to go boogie down, and I'll go do it. And then Stand With You is another one. That one is really a shout out to the youth who are out there making their voices heard in the streets. And originally that one was really written around gun control and just common sense gun laws and the movement around that the youth are driving. But it seems particularly relevant these days with people out in the streets for all kinds of reasons. And so folks tell us that one's really resonated with them as well. So yeah, you're right. We didn't plan it, but it seems to have worked out that way, that these songs are really clicking for some folks right now.
Andrew Cole, what we hear a lot when we interview a featured artist is that after this chat and after a week of increased airplay, there's a lot of attention. Listeners to this station, whether it be on the website or the radio itself, they get intrigued by who's this band, and they want to know where they can support the band in this time of very few performances. They also want a place where they can purchase the music that the band might want them to go to. Where do you prefer people find out more about your band, the Bravo Hops, online?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. It's I think the best place is probably our website, which is acoleandthehops.com, all spelled out. And there you can access our music, and you'll find my email address on there. And if you like the T-shirts that we have, let me know. I'm happy to send one out to your listeners if they're interested. It's the Bronco hop's name comes from brewing beer, which is one of my hobbies for a long time. It's an American hop that brewers use as kind of a finishing hop for their brews, and so you'll see the T-shirt's got this crazy looking beer hop with a pair of sunglasses on it. So people get a kick out of that. So yeah, I would say the website's probably the best place to explore and learn a little bit more and connect with us. So please do check that out.
Well, we know you've been listening all week, including today, but this is an EP, as you said, with 5 songs on it, and we're going to let you, all the way out there in New York, actually choose the next song our listeners hear from this EP on our airwaves. Well, what song do you think that should be, Andrew?
Well, very cool. Thanks for having me, and I hope to get up there and meet you in person and play some music with all of you at some point. But for now, yeah, let's listen to one. I think probably "Stand With You" is the way to go, especially today. Fingers crossed we're going to get a change in the White House today. And again, this is the song that pays tribute to all the folks who've been out in the street making some noise and getting their voices heard. So thanks again, Dennis. Appreciate being with you today.
We'll play that next. Thank you, Andrew.